Hi, my name is Tori Pritchett, and I am the Archives intern. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Ms. Shayrier, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keyana Shayrier. I serve as the Student Conduct Coordinator. So I deal with judicial affairs here at Johnson C. Smith University, and I've been here since November 2022.
All right. And if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can use the hand map, when you describe yourself.
Okay, so on the hand map, I put that I am educated. Currently, I'm in my doctoral program. I'm in the research stage, my proposal. So I'm amazing. I'm resourceful, so I'm able to help others when it comes to finding things, finding assistance. I'm empathetic and kind-hearted. I care about others and what's going on with them and try to put myself in their shoes if possible. And I'm encouraging, so I believe in motivating and uplifting others so they can be their better selves.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. And with you, describe a little bit about yourself. If you could tell us where's home for you right now?
So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but then I moved to a small town with a big heart. It's called Littleton, North Carolina, in the 252 area. I went to school at the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural Technical State University in Greensboro around 2008. 2012, so they kind of tell my age a little bit. But then I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, so I've been here since 2019.
Okay, so you were here during the beginning of the pandemic when it started?
Yes, and I had transitioned to a different job in 2019.
Okay, if you don't mind, if you could share just, how that was for you transitioning into a new job and, the beginning of the pandemic.
So it was very challenging just because I did work at a university. It was a smaller campus institution. And so we had to go into scramble, think about what do we do for the needs of the students as well as the needs of faculty and staff. And so in that terms, people got cut, different things got people got furloughed, people got laid off. In my instance, in my role, I did get furloughed at one point, and then I was brought back just to assist in another area. But that was very challenging, trying to figure out the place where you belong, what you should do, how are you going to maintain your livelihood. And Charlotte isn't the cheapest place to stay at all, and so trying to figure out how you're going to keep up with things, but also dealing with issues that you have from home, having to support other people as well. So it became a challenge in that part, in that transition, in trying to make things work.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. And so I'd like to know, with, these transitions and changes and things like that, what are some normal routines that might have changed for you?
So working. So once I was furloughed, I had to think about, okay, what other streams of income can I do in that time period? So I wasn't doing the 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 6. It was more so me being more free, which turned into me binge watching sometimes. And so that was like, whoa, I'm not used to this type of thing. Of course, lots of freedom, but also constraints because we was on, restrictions. And so it's like, oh, I'm free, but I can't be free that much. So that came into being home a lot of times. I still tried to travel, even though I wasn't supposed to be on the airplane. But I had my mask on. And I was going to those places because I was like, okay, I have to get away from here just a little bit to be free and clear my mind. But that's kind of how my routine went.
Okay. And with you talking about traveling, how did you feel? Yes, I know you had your mask on and practicing that social distancing, but how did you feel?
In certain cases, so the whole time when the start of the pandemic, I was scared at first. I was like, oh my God, is people really going to pass because of this disease or this infection, this disease that's going on. And so I was a little nervous as to what's going on. I was at those stores buying up things too, trying to find Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. But I still, even though I should have been more cautious, I felt like, okay, I still can be outside, which I probably shouldn't have been outside. And that was me, I guess, putting a risk. But I guess being kind of young is like, oh, I can bounce back. I'm not the one getting sick. Everybody else can get sick. But then I kind of got sick at the end. I want to get COVID I got it on my birthday, actually, my birthday weekend. But it was like maybe a year later, I was vaccinated. And I was like, oh, wow. But at least I didn't get it in the beginning because I saw how bad it was for people who did get it in that beginning stage and didn't know what was going on.
Now, after, you had the virus and whatnot, what precautions did you take afterwards?
Oh, so in that case, I didn't think I was going to get COVID. When I did get it, I was stressed. I was crying boo-hooing. I said, oh my God, this is it. And then my fiance's little brother, I thought it was just a cold. So my fiance's little brother was like bringing me like my teas and things of that sort. And then he got sick as well. And so I was like, oh my God, I got him sick. So I was just in a little depressed state in the room. And we both were sick in our separate rooms and spaces. But I still did what I had to do. I still was, using my hand sanitizer, Clorox, spraying. But when I wasn't wearing my mask, I wore more so than I was before. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, I can't breathe with this mask on. But I was like, if I can't breathe or not, I'm going to wear this mask. Because maybe this is assisting somehow. So, yeah.
Definitely. Now, during that time, did you have any new hobbies that you might have picked up or anything like that?
Let's see. I tried exercising a little bit, but that's always off and on type thing. So I guess that didn't work. I was cooking more for the household, trying new things on for TikTok and Instagram.
New recipes?
Yeah, just looking at things that was the trendy things to do. So I was trying to do that in order to make sure that the kids that was at home, was like, okay, they can enjoy eating or whatever the case may be. So this kind of things. Staying up on social media and the trends.
Okay. All right. And during that time, with you saying that you are originally from New York, correct? How were you able to communicate with your family? Did things change as far as your...
Yeah, so my mom, she is 78 right now. She's going to 44. She adopted me, but she stays in a small town because that's where we moved to with my grandmother. So my mother was there. She was taking care of her mom's sister, who's like 80 something now, close to 90 now. And so during that time, I saw a decline in her health, and so that kind of impacted my responsibilities for myself and what I had to do in trying to ensure that she was okay. Because for her, even though I'm outside, I'm doing what I need to do. She's like, nobody can come to my house at all. She wasn't going to church. And she's not good with social media or getting on the internet or anything like that. So she stayed more so cooped up in the house, her and my aunt. So I did see a decline. They didn't want to go to the doctor and things of that sort. And so eventually, closer to the end of the pandemic, or as we say, the end of the pandemic, we found out that she actually had Alzheimer's. And so I had to become her legal guardian last year. So that impacted, because I do think that kind of aided in her, because she was sick herself. We couldn't really see the signs, and we saw the signs late. That's where I do think that, that pandemic kind of aided in some of that. Not saying it did, because eventually, it's the mind, so it's going to go if it's going to go. But I do think that she probably would have been more prone to, go get checked. They could have kind of looked at the signs earlier, and things of that sort. So that kind of was that dynamic that changed in my household for the pandemic for me.
And with all that going on, what did you gain, you know, during that time? That's a lot.
So it definitely was a lot, job changes. I was in a doctoral program, so I'm like, hey, I got to care more so for my mom versus what I need to do for myself and progressing in life. And I'm young, so it's like, okay, let me think about how I can shift. So a lot of times I was, I felt the depression. I felt like, oh my God, my self-worth type thing. But I do think that, during that time, it did help with people understanding the importance of mental health and talking to somebody. And so that helped me to be like, okay, maybe I just need to express how I feel to certain people or find different outlets. So I do think that I found, I always knew I was resilient from my life story until now, but I think that kind of strengthened it because then I had to take on a part of now I need to really help somebody else. Someone who helped me when I was young. Now I got to change back and help them now. And so that helped with that. So I think it's strengthened my resiliency and strengthen my self-worth and understanding like I can do this, I can push through, anybody can push through because the world went through some things and we wasn't aware that we actually were stronger than we thought we could be. So even behind pain, you're going to find strength. And that's what I learned.
Okay, I'm glad that, that happened for you. Glad that you were able to gain that strength because we all needed it.
Most definitely.
Yes. So I always ask my participants, because I do want to be mindful of your time, but I always ask. So, first, is there any other, additional stories that you may want to just share with us?
No, I think that's it. Oh, well, I guess another thing is I wound up getting engaged on my birthday last year. So that was kind of close to the end or somewhat still in the pandemic type thing. So that builds thank you. That builds me and my fiance's relationship because we was staying together, because you can say checking up, but then we wound up, we put a ring on it. And then I was like, okay, you got to finish up this doctoral degree. So I'm working on that. Now I'm trying to find participants for my study. Okay. And during that time, I transitioned to Johnson C. Smith. And so I'm gaining another HBCU love, putting that under my belt as well. So,
okay. And like I said, I definitely want you to share your story. And congratulations.
Thank you.
What is any advice that you would give to someone that may be going through this, not through this, but something similar to the pandemic? What's some advice that you would leave to them?
Remember, find some outlets, some healthy outlets, in order to get through different things. If that means going to speak to a therapist, talking to a counselor, faith in God, try to strengthen that. As I said, there's when you see pain, there's strength. You're gonna get strength out of whatever you're going through. You just have to push through it. And sometimes if you can't push through it, make sure you found those resources that can assist you in that, because it's a lot of nonprofits out here. It's a lot of licensed individuals that can help you. So I do think that self-care is important. I believe in self-care. I believe in self-worth. And I believe in making sure that you are well. If you're well, then you are able to do anything that you put your mind to.
Okay, well, Ms. Shayrier, we do appreciate you. Our team definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be interviewed.
Thank you for having me.